This is the HoverAir X1 ProMax self-flying camera. It's an 8K flying camera that folds up and fits in your pocket and doesn't even need a remote control. You can literally power it on,
current mode, indoor follow,
cycle through the modes on the drone itself,
360 degrees spin, hover,
and then when you're ready to launch it, you just push this button. In fact, it even has a voice control mode. Hi, Hover. That tone means that it's ready for a command. When you launch it, it'll take off and either complete the shot that you told it to do, like to do a 360 fly around and then land back in your hand, or if it's in a mode like follow, it'll just lock onto you and follow you wherever you go. And it works really well. It even has an indoor follow mode, as you heard, which does a remarkably good job of not running into walls and navigating your space. I even had it follow me all the way down the stairs of my building, and at walking pace, it did perfectly well. I then tried to outrun it going down the stairs, zigzagging back and forth, and it did eventually get stuck on the handrail, but overall, it did a really great job. Now, I said that it can fly without any controllers, but that's just an option. You can use your phone to control it, just like you've seen with every other drone, or you can get this thing called the beacon. This little beacon quickly became my favorite way to fly it. Well, for the limited time that I did get to fly it before I crashed it. Instead of having to connect your phone to the X-Air's Wi-Fi just even to see the image, once paired, you just turn on both of these devices and they automatically connect to each other. It's pretty slick. You can even change flying modes from here and adjust some, but not all, of the flight parameters. And two very cool features, the microphone on here will sync up with the video from the drone. Then you'll have your dialogue recorded on here without the sound of the noisy propeller. And this is called a beacon because while the drone does primarily rely on visual subject tracking, if it loses sight of you, it can use the beacon to reacquire you. Very neat. Sadly, I killed this on the first sunny day I had to take it outdoors, but before I committed drone-icide, I had tested out most of its automation modes. I ride my bike quite a lot, so the cycling mode was one that I was really anxious to try out. The beacon was strapped onto my handlebar with this little mount, which meant that I could keep an eye on the camera while riding to ensure that the drone was actually still behind me, which of course you can also hear it, but it's still very helpful to know that it's following you and not the guy who just ran past you. See what happens now is I pass somebody, it freaks out and starts to follow them. Kept following me, that's good. With the phone app, you can change various settings like choosing the distance it should follow you from and the altitude it should follow you from, high or flat, meaning low. You can also do some of that from this. I guess we'll go, let's go under this bridge here. Not that going under this bridge was a huge challenge, but it had no problem following me here. Here's some little branches up here. I sure hope it doesn't get caught in those. So if it does, it's probably gonna fall in the water and that would really suck. It did a fine job of avoiding these trees that I was riding under. All right, I'm gonna raise it up while I'm riding. Let's see what happens. So raising it up, higher, higher, higher. It can even automatically climb up if you start going faster and descend as you slow down to get the best shots. I found the bike mode to work really, really well, and while I didn't get to test it, I've seen videos from other creators taking their mountain bikes through the trees and the drone doing a great job of keeping up and not running into anything. So let's actually talk about the drone's design and some more of its features a little bit. One of the things I really like about it is that the propellers are completely enclosed. This cage means that you won't accidentally cut your fingers when you're flying or landing it, which is something that I may or may not have done in the past. So it's totally safe and easy to take it off and land from the palm of your hand. Plus, it folds in half. I mean, how cool is that? And again, this propeller protection means that...
mode, orbit.
I guess I should turn it off. The propeller protection means that once it's folded, you can just put it into your coat pocket. And this stuff is really, really strong. I mean, look, it actually comes with some of this that you are meant to try and break. And I guess I don't have to worry about breaking this one since I've kind of already destroyed it. But this stuff is not going anywhere. The camera takes a microSD card And since this can shoot 8K, you do want a good microSD card. Angelbird actually just released these new AV Pro microSD V30 cards up to 1 terabyte in size, which are specifically designed for 8K capture. Very cool. Also very cool is that the X1 has 64 gigabytes of storage built in. Now that is very nice. While it does shoot in 8K, an important note is that you don't get log in 8K. The same limitation is on my Insta360 8K cameras. You always have to give up log when you shoot in 8K, which is kind of a bummer, but maybe it's a processing power limitation. I don't know, but it's not unprecedented. Like I said, it's on other cameras as well. The drone is super lightweight, well under the 250 gram limit. In fact, officially it weighs 192 grams, but let's find out. 193 grams with the SD card and whatever bugs it might have picked up on its final flight. It has this omniterrain feature that's supposed to help it fly over water and snow and other wacky terrains that could mess with lesser drones. I did have it out over the water a bit, but it kept following me back over land because I had it in the bike follow mode. But the water didn't seem to bother it. I didn't get to test as much as I wanted to over water, but the feature is there. Now this thing can do some pretty impressive speeds, but I don't have my speedometer on, so I'm not going to be able to really tell, but definitely can follow much faster than you can do on a pedal bike. It can burst up to 42 kilometers per hour. That's over 26 miles per hour. Another clever design element brings us back to the beacon. As I said earlier, you can fly this just with the beacon, but if you want more mechanical control, you can actually hook up this little handle to it. So we'll snap this on. You notice that it magnetically snaps in. And then for the controller, you have a choice between 2 different types. There's these little kind of thumb controllers and fingertip controls, just depending on what you prefer. So I'll pop one of these on. And now I've got this single-handed joystick control. I use the thumb joystick to move it left, right, up, and down, and then I push this button on the back and tilt forward and backwards to fly the drone backwards and forwards.
Right, that's what it showed, yeah.
Very cool. But then you can take it a step further by adding another controller to the other side, and then folding this down to attach your phone. Then you have a large preview screen, the 2-handed controller, and it's just a more traditional control design. Anyway, let's go back to the sample footage that I did capture. There's the zoom out move, which at first I thought, wow, that's exciting. What's the point of this? But then I realized that the default setting was only 1.5 meters. So there's a lot that you can do in the phone once you connect it. I changed the setting to the 30 meter maximum and sent it away, and that was cool. The spiral mode is pretty neat, where it just rises up, keeping you centered, flying around and around as it goes higher and higher. 360 spin is a simple one that just slowly spins in a 360-degree rotation. Then dolly track was definitely my favorite. I had fully intended to have this flying over the water, following me from the side while I was on the bike path, but I killed it before I got to try that out. I did, however, test the mode in this big open space, riding around a bunch while it chased me around. I never did get to totally figure out the controls, but it was tracking me both from behind and in front, and I had it flying around me manually by moving the tiny controller on the beacon. There's a lot of really cool controls on here that I didn't quite get to the bottom of, but man, this mode was really cool. And then I decided to go manual control. Look, there was a specific shot that I wanted. I wanted to go way up above the bridge and fly along as we walked along it. So this was the first time that I tried the single-handed mode and found that it was, in fact, really cool. I flew it way up and I did a cool spiral shot down and, you know, I felt like I had some decent control of it. And this shot is cool, right? Yeah, it's kind of cool. So then I started getting the drone in position for the main shot and, well... Oh, shit. And, wow, battery came out. Really? No kidding. Oh. Oops. Well, the good news is it didn't fall in the water. The bad news is it didn't survive the fall. The HoverAir's active collision detection system can't be disabled, so I know that it was on. That was a big old tree that it hit, but a tree devoid of leaves, so I don't know. They do say that rear avoidance only works at lower speeds, which I don't know how slow that means, but regardless, it didn't work here. So what does this mean? Look, drone crashes are pretty unavoidable. I think it's true what they say. There are 2 kinds of drone pilots in the world, those who have crashed and those who haven't crashed yet. I'm certainly not massively experienced with drones, which is honestly what drew me to this flying camera in the first place. I love all the automation, and if I just left it in auto modes, we probably would have been just fine. I still would obviously prefer that the rear collision avoidance worked better, and who knows, maybe once I ship this back to them, they'll pull the telemetry and be able to make some improvements. I don't know. This is probably a good time to tell you, though, about HoverCARE. They're $90 or 100 euros for 1 year, or $130, 140 euros for 2 years care plan that gives you discounted replacements and repairs. So I would definitely recommend that. Yeah. Huge kudos to HoverAir for sponsoring this video, even though I destroyed their camera before finishing it. And if you want to see more flying samples, comment below that they should totally replace this one so that I can keep showing it to you, all right? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you the next time I have something to destroy.